Hello and happy Friday! I hope you guys had a wonderful week. This is Fridays with Brandon, so welcome to the channel. And today is Fluke Fridays, episode number 77. And what we're going to talk about today is some application. I was working yesterday and got to talk with a customer that had kind of a unique application for Fluke Connect. And I thought this is a good application to share with this audience, because I think it'll help you guys if you're looking at doing a similar application or you already have Fluke Connect tools, getting more out of your tools. So what was the application? This was a maintenance person in a steel manufacturing facility, and they have all these their cranes, and they're DC powered cranes, and they were burning up DC motors in these hoist cranes. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to log both voltage and current on both DC motors, because there's two motors that are driving this hoist crane head. So they wanted to see, is one getting overloaded versus the other one? Is one getting worked harder than the other one? And is that why we're burning through motors faster than we think we should? So they had a great idea. They said, hey, we've got some Fluke Connect clamp meters. There's a whole series of them. Anything that says FC, I'll hold this up. Anything that says FC at the back, so the 374, 375, 376, 377, and 378 FC are all our Fluke Connect clamp meters. So you could use any of those, or you could use other standalone Fluke Connect tools if you wanted to. There's a whole series of that, so you guys can look those up. But what they decided is, we've got a few of these Fluke Connect clamp meters, and they had the ability to measure DC current, the ones that they had, and they have so both DC current with the jaws and DC voltage with the test leads. Obviously DC being lines with dashes, right? So, but they wanted to measure both voltage and current on both motors. So they really needed 4 different measuring devices, because these only can measure either voltage or current, one or the other. I will make a plug for the Fluke 393 FC. That is the one that Fluke has come out with, designed for alternative energy, but it has some cool capabilities with the DC that could allow you to do both DC voltage and current at the same time and log those. And that might be a better fit if you're just doing DC current, but this could be true with other applications as well, and you can do it just like these guys did, which is using 4 different clamp meters. So they had one of the clamp meters on DC voltage with the test leads measuring voltage to the motor, one on DC current clamped around to measure DC current with the jaws. So they had 2 of those on one motor, and they had 2 on the other motor. Okay? So that's how their application was. And they were able to they were able to log. So you see, if you hold that down for 2 seconds, you can start logging. Or if you connect it via your Fluke Connect app, you can start logging that way. Now, I am going to go ahead and turn on my phone. Oops. Let's see if we can. Okay. So, yep. So we see, let's make sure this is on actually. Turn that. Okay. There we go. Scan for new device. So Brandon's 376 FC. And click this. And if you've never done this before, you actually will mirror the screen. I've got other videos on this. You're going to mirror whatever we see over here. Right? As I click this, you see it'll reflect over here. But you can only be looking at one thing at a time, and you can only log whatever is on the screen. Okay? So let's say they wanted DC current. Okay? So maybe they want to log. The first thing they might want to do is hit that down arrow before they download. Before they start logging, one thing they should do is check the logging interval. See, this says once per second, but you can change this. So you could have this every few seconds, where you're going to get the min, max, and average. This is really important. It's not that it won't work if your various Fluke Connect devices have different logging intervals, but these guys, they had different logging intervals. They had one maybe 4 or 5 seconds and one at 1 second. And so when they exported their CSV file into Excel, they had to do some like comparison because it didn't just match up line for line. Had they started with the interval the same on all of their Fluke Connect instruments, it would have lined up. You know, you might not have started them all logging at the exact same second, but then you could have just deleted or added a couple rows, and then they would have all lined up. So that would be just a piece of advice. If you are going to use multiple Fluke Connect tools to do logging, go ahead and set them to the same exact logging interval, whether it's 1 second, 5 seconds, once per minute, whatever. Okay? Just make sure it's consistent across all of them. Then you can start logging either from your phone or, like I showed before, hold this down for 2 seconds, it'll start logging. When you're done, you can then download it through the Fluke Connect app, have a CSV file, and then open it up in Excel and do all the manipulation you want. And then you can actually prove, is one DC motor getting more load than the other in real time, where you might not be able to stand there in multiple places the whole time, especially if it's not a safe environment to stand in. So hopefully that was really helpful. We are getting close to the end of the year, and I'll just mention this. I know that with supply chain things, there is a lot of CapEx money out there that cannot be spent because you just literally can't get the parts. Fluke doesn't have everything available, but there are a lot of things that Fluke can help your company out. If you have extra money in your maintenance department and you need to spend an extra, another $100,000 because you know you're not going to get that in this year, and if you don't use the money, you're going to lose it anyways. There's a lot of tools, specifically the air leak detectors, the thermal imagers, that Fluke has available. They can ship them. They're going to get to you by the end of 2022, and you're going to be able, for tax purposes, at least here in the U.S., to help with that and to help with your CapEx to make sure that you're not losing that CapEx spending if your company's not going to give you more money next year for that project anyways. So, something to think of. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Take care. Leave any questions below. Don't forget, if you've watched at least 3 videos, go ahead and hit subscribe. It's free to you and it really helps the channel. So I appreciate everything you guys do. You guys have a wonderful weekend.